Alright, so this is a suggestion via a donation. The name of the video is She Fell from an Airplane from 10,000 feet and wandered in the jungle with a bag of candy for 10 days. That is a mouthful, guys. But alright. I mean, I don't know how that's plausible, but did she have a parachute? Fell from an airplane. I guess that... I don't know. Let's get it.
Hi, everyone. It happens very rarely, but people survive even very serious airplane crashes. Sometimes they survive with serious physical and psychological consequences, and sometimes with an incredible will to live.
Listen, if you survived that, yeah.
A young woman named Juliana Kopke survived after falling 3,200 meters out of an airplane.
She German?
What did she do after she regained consciousness, and what trials did she undergo?
She kissed the ground instantly, trust me.
This is what we will talk about.
Right.
Juliana Kopke was born on October 10th, 1954, to a family of German immigrants. The girl was raised and developed like any child. She went to kindergarten, school, had friends, and first dates.
Okay.
She spent a lot of time with her mom, who worked as a biologist, but her dad often traveled for work. When Juliana was 17 years old, her mother suggested taking a trip to Pucallpa, where her father was working at the time. The plane had 86 passengers and 6 members of the crew on board. There was a small delay because of the weather conditions in the Andes, but after a wait time of a couple hours, the plane received permission to take off. The 47-year-old Maria and her 17-year-old daughter Juliana did not know what was coming. Flight number 508
What happened to the mother?
took off from Lima around noon, and after rising to a height of 6,400 meters, headed for the mountains.
Okay.
Later, Juliana revealed that the first half hour of the flight was absolutely normal, and nothing foreshadowed the troubles ahead. When the plane crossed the Andes, there were thunderclouds ahead, which was a normal phenomenon in the region. Of course, it would have been smarter to fly around the thunderstorm, but the pilots likely wanted to finish the flight sooner in order to get back to their families, or maybe they simply relied on their experience and underestimated the power of the elements.
Okay.
They decided to fly straight through. Juliana remembers that suddenly the clouds became thick and dark and there was severe turbulence. Then the irreparable happened. Lightning struck the engine, which exploded as a result. The right wing of the plane began to burn. This damaged the integrity of the lining of the plane. Of course, the crew made every effort to control the plane, but the conditions of the severe turbulence created an overload that damaged the left wing as well. The plane literally began to fall apart in the air, and because it was out of control, began to spin. The fate of the airplane was decided. Flight number 508 fell to the ground.
Wow.
The plane was scheduled to arrive at Pucallpa at 12:47 p.m., but hours had passed without any messages from the crew. An urgent aerial search began. The situation was complicated by the fact that the airplane pieces did not break the trees upon falling, but simply disappeared into the jungle. It was very hard to notice them from the air, and a small fire was quickly put out by the heavy rain. The search was complicated
Like everything took place to make it worse.
further by the fact that it was unknown in which region the airplane disappeared. Many assume that the plane fell in a central region of the Andes after crashing into the mountains. After a couple days, the search for the missing people stopped. Nobody had any doubts that after such a crash, there would be no survivors. However, people are sometimes gravely mistaken. It so happened that during the plane's fall, at a height of 3,200 meters, Juliana was thrown out of the plane while still strapped into her seat.
Okay.
Juliana later said that her last memories were of an explosion, a burning airplane wing, and an unnaturally calm voice of her mother saying, "That's it. This is the end. Everything is over." A sudden jerk, a free fall together with her seat, and a crushing blow. It is terrifying to even imagine the emotions that she experienced at the time.
Bro, where did the seat land?
As it turned out, Juliana fell into the Amazon rainforest and lay unconscious until the next morning. She regained consciousness because of severe nausea and a headache. Her whole body was covered in cuts, and she did not have enough energy to even unfasten her seatbelt. At the time, the only thing that Juliana could clearly understand is that she was alive. The airplane seat to which she was attached glided instead of free falling to the ground, which broke the fall.
Right.
In this way, fate gifted Juliana another birthday. But this was only the beginning of her difficult journey of survival. Juliana looked around. There was nobody in sight. She had only one shoe, no glasses, and was wearing only a light dress. Her whole body hurt and she did not know where to go. The only thing she understood clearly was that help would not come and she needed to act independently. However, 4 days passed before Juliana Kopke regained enough energy after the fall in order to be able to start moving. As strange as it is, not far from where she landed, Juliana saw a small bag of candy that she took with her on the journey. That was my only food. I didn't know how the bag ended up there, but I took it with me, Juliana said.
Hey, listen, that saved your life. I still would like to know how, the water situation. I mean, if she sat there for 4 days, that sounds like she may not be alive.
For the next 3 days, Juliana simply walked forward in hopes of getting to a human settlement or a road. The first problem was that Juliana was short-sighted, and it was extremely difficult for her without her glasses.
Oh my.
She would move very slowly and carefully, using a stick to probe the terrain in front of her. She couldn't walk much faster anyway because the ligaments in her knee were torn. The second problem was the lack of food. She survived by eating the candy that she found and the berries that grew around her. There was no problem with water because it rained heavily for several hours each day, and she could drink as much as she needed. Another problem was her clothing, which left Juliana cold, wet, and did not protect her from accidental cuts. She had to sleep without a fire. Every day the situation became worse. All that Juliana remembers is pain and suffering. Danger surrounded her at every step. 10 days had passed and the girl was still unable to reach people. She had lost hope almost entirely, but the brave schoolgirl continued to walk. Luckily, on the 11th day of her journey, Juliana heard the sound of a stream. When she reached it, she started to walk downstream because she knew from her dad that streams flow into larger channels that flow into rivers on the banks of which there could be human settlements.
Right. Right. Like always find the water. Follow where the water is going and you will eventually find civilization if you're ever lost in the forest. Rule number 1.
It became easier to walk, but the chances of confronting poisonous snakes increased. Similarly, she frequently saw caimans, but knew that they were not dangerous to people and neither were freshwater piranhas. A couple times she lost count of how many days passed since the crash. In the end, Juliana Kopka saw a boat with a canister of fuel and the girl simply collapsed next to the boat. Soon she was discovered by a local Puerto Inca fisherman. Right away they carried Juliana to the village. They administered first aid to the best of their ability and fed her. Later she was driven to a local airport and sent to Pucallpa where she was hospitalized in a missionary hospital. Juliana Kopke was not kept in a medical facility for a long time because her injuries and abscesses were not too serious. The doctors informed her father Hans about his daughter's miraculous survival, and right away he came to pick her up.
Of course he did.
Because of Juliana's testimony, rescue workers were able to launch a large-scale search operation involving many airplanes, but unfortunately, nobody was able to be found. At first, the girl suffered from nightmares about that ill-fated day. Juliana couldn't understand why. Out of so many people, she was the sole survivor. But despite everything she went through, the girl did not start to fear flying and did not give up on her dream of becoming a zoologist and studying the jungle.
I'm surprised she didn't become a pilot, guys.
Later, as always, the girl was swarmed by journalists and screenwriters who made the first and then the second movie about what happened. And I must admit that each of the movies deserves attention. After some time, when Juliana Kopke was 57 years old, she published a memoir with a romantic title, When I Fell from the Sky. For the past 10 years, she has been living close to her children and grandchildren and working at a library part-time. She enjoys spending time with her readers and telling them the story of her miraculous survival. What else can I add? The fact that Juliana survived such a serious crash is a real miracle. However, the fact that she found the strength to keep walking despite all of her injuries points to nothing else but her strength of character.
Absolutely.
Juliana said, "After everything I lived through, I started looking at my life completely differently. It's important to value each day and moment that you are alive because none of us knows when or where our lives will end. So just be happy right now and never give up even if it feels like it's over."
Message.
Truly, no matter how hard it is important to always be able to have willpower and to move forward. When people persevere through all of their trials, that's when they begin to understand the true meaning of life. Well, that's all, friends. If you liked our video, please subscribe to our channel and don't forget to give it a like. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Guys, this is great. She was both the lucky... What is that? Guys, wow. What is... Sorry, guys. Listen, so she was both the luckiest and unluckiest human that has ever lived on this planet. All right? Every single thing went wrong in her life, but yet she still found a way to persevere, succeed, and survive in an extremely hostile environment. I'm not sure I could have done that, right? I cannot keep looking at this, bro. Sorry. I'm messing up my ending here, guys. But the moral of the story is she survived. Congratulate her, obviously. Now I need to kind of know more about this story, guys. It's important. It's mandatory that I do so, guys. This is something that I would show my kids. I'm telling you, this is what I would show my kids. Purely so they can understand, like, listen, something happens to you. It is just you. You need to find a way to make it out alive, okay? Follow the river. Follow it. Even if you are landlocked in a landlocked place, be fully aware. Something can happen and you could end up lost in a jungle. She most likely has never been in a jungle in her entire life, but she remembered that one thing her parent told her. Find the water and follow it. All right? Amazing advice. Okay. What is even happening in this image, bro? How did he get like this, guys? How did this man get like this? What are these two people doing? And how did this happen? Why is there toilet paper on the ground? What was he doing on the floor? It's like newspaper underneath him, guys. This is too much, bro. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly, all right?